What's happening, peeps? It's your boy CJ. Today we're reviewing the Galvin Loimu. Let's get into it. Alright, so here we have it. The Galvin Loimu in stunning polar green. This thing is a looker. Let's get some of the housekeeping out of the way, shall we? So the Galvin Loimu features a 316L stainless steel case size of 38 millimeters, a case thickness of 11.6 millimeters, lug to lug of 45, a lug width of 19, that's a bit of a bummer, flat sapphire with some AR coating, a Miyota 9 series movement with the 9015, 100 meters water resistance, and comes in at a price of 699 Australian dollars, which is 474 USD. So how does she wear? Well, it's safe to say that the Loimu wears perfect on wrist. That 38 diameter, followed by those beautiful female end links, short lug to lug distance, as well as that 11.6 mil height. It just wears like a glove. Let's get a pocket shot to see how that looks a bit better. Alright, so who is Galvin Watch Company? Well, it's owned and operated by Susan, the Sydney-based watchmaker who's had previous work experience with Tag Heuer as well as Omega, and you can clearly see that inspiration here with those lug designs, giving you very Omega-ish aesthetics. You're going to see the attention to detail with the fine brushing along the edges of the case, as well as that high polish on that bezel, as well as the upper case. I'm loving the addition of the female end links, and I feel the brushing along the bracelet is really a standout. The articulation as well provides incredible comfort, and you can really see the attention to detail here with high polished chamfers around the edges of this buckle and the beautiful Galvin logo there. I'll also love the case back, which shows off that beautiful logo as well, if this camera could focus. That gear shape pattern, which is then repeated on the front of the dial. And this by far is one of the prettiest, most stunning and striking dials I've ever seen. This gear shape pattern, as well as that outer sunburst ring, catches light like no other. Besides that, it really stands out as this fresh, sporty, classy, almost dressy watch all at the same time, and that's something I really appreciate. That sign crown as well, with that beautiful Lume ring, is just a standout. So let's talk legibility, shall we? Alright, so the Galvin watch features some pretty decent legibility. If it's in shadow, it's quite hard to see because the pattern makes more of a standout than the hands and the indices themselves. But because they are applied, they do have that contrast which allows you to tell the time pretty effectively. I feel like the high polish on the actual hands reflect that same darkened pattern on that bright dial to give you some contrast so you can see the time pretty quickly. But let's talk Lume. How does this perform in low light? Well, let's boost this bad boy up a little bit. Okay, so it's not the darkest here in the studio, but the Lume is not the greatest. I mean, it's a nice addition to see it there. But when it comes to that crown, I mean, look at that. That just pops. Clearly in the Lume department, Galvin have decided to make that more of a standout than the actual dial itself. And I feel like it's a logical choice. This watch really has that sense of class to it. I feel if it was all Lume, that wouldn't really add to that look that the gear shade dial sort of presents. But that nice touch on the crown is just subtle, but more than enough to give it something different and unique while making it a standout at the same time. Okay, let's talk pros and cons. I'll just be honest straight off the bat, there's not many cons. But let's talk about the highlights of the things that I like the most. This dial is one of the most stunning things I've ever seen, or I think you'll ever see, if we're being honest. That gear shape pattern is fresh, inviting, classy, sort of has that sporty look with the indices as well as the hands. That sunburst just, I mean, look at that. Look at that. There's just something special about this dial, and there's not much that I can say in the negative front about it. As much as I love the minute track along the chapter ring, I feel like if that was removed, it might add to the more dressier appeal. But overall, this dial is something special. When it comes to the case, the incredible finishing really stands out to me. I love the brushing, that subtle chamfer that's brushed with the polished inner portion of the lugs just reflects light so well. And then one of the things that is underappreciated by most, but something I quite like, are case backs. And to see that gear shape pattern put on the case back is just something that brings me joy straight up. Now onto the bracelet. Most companies sort of overlook bracelets, we all know this, but I feel like Galvin didn't waste any time when it came to this bracelet. It's incredibly comfortable, incredibly finished, and you can see here it's got that milled clasp. While the micro adjust is clearly lacking here, I feel like it's more than fine when it comes to the fit and finish of the bracelet because of how comfortable it is, and it's a clear standout in my opinion. Now onto the negatives. And that negative is the strap. So the strap is optional, but Galvin were kind enough to send this over to have a look. Now let's be honest, the strap is incredibly comfortable. It's soft, it's supple. It's got a beautiful outside brown with incredible stitching, high quality overall, sign clasp. It's really beautiful. It's got a soft leather outer backing. And while all of these seem like pros, the only one con is that it doesn't have many holes. My 7-inch, just over 7-inch wrist fits it, but on a cold day like it is here in Sydney most days, this watch is sliding on the wrist quite a bit, as you can see. The other con is, if you can hear, there's a lot of rotor noise. This seems to be muted when wearing the watch on the bracelet. I'm assuming because of the weight, but yes, it's quite evident. You can hear it quite a lot when wearing it on the strap. So my personal opinion is I wouldn't wear it on the strap that often. But if you got a larger wrist, this will definitely fit you. But for smaller wrists, I feel like the bracelet's definitely the way to go. Well, there it is, the Galvin Loimu. Incredible watch, incredible craftsmanship by a true enthusiast. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of microbrands in general, as well as the Galvin company, what they offer? And do microbrands provide great value, or do you have a controversial opinion? Let's have a conversation in the comments. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, watch out.